YouTube. Now we're doing a video log today. It's not about my car. Yeah, it's car related material. And it is it's been an issue with my wife's car, but it's something real simple, but it's frustrating. Okay, so when I turn on the turn signal, the turn to the left, the signal does not flash. It stays lit. Okay, first thing that comes to mind is that did she blow a fuse or not? Well, at first I thought a fuse, but then the lights won't come on if it was a fuse, right? Okay, and then I checked all the light bulbs outside the car. They're all good. So it just stays lit. It won't flash. And I can show you what that looks like real quick. All right. Hang on a second. All right. Turn on the car. I'm not going to start it. All right, so if you turn to the right, you got blinker. Okay. You turn to the left, it stays lit. And I know some of you say, well, check your light bulbs. I did. The light bulbs are all good. They all light up. All right. Now, never mind, it's about 90 degrees out here right now, and I'm sweating real bad. So I bought this part. I bought a flasher for it, for the car. Part number, let me turn the camera around and let you see the part number. Okay, part number, come on now. According to the auto parts stores and Google and Amazon and all this is the flasher for it's a 92 Buick Century Limited. And, it's a flasher. And let me show you what it looks like. I'll take it out of the box. Okay, this is what the flasher looks like. Aftermarket. Electronic flasher, 12 volt. Just a little thing like that, right? Okay. The issue is, I've been in this car trying to find, the issue is trying to figure out where does this mount. I've noticed on car forums and stuff like that, also on YouTube, that people that have a Century, Buick Century, the early models, like since hers is a 92, early 90 type Century Limited, that they're having an issue to figure out where is this in the car. It's got to have a flasher for the turn signals to flash, right? And you want to see something else? Now, if I hit the hazard light, come on, see, they blink. Okay, so we know it blinks on that, but it won't blink on the turn signal when you turn it down, right, to turn left. So I've been under the dash. Excuse me. I've been under the dash. First place I looked was over here in the side of the car. And all I see is wires. Lots and lots of wires, like harnesses and things like that. Alright. Sorry. Alright, so here I am looking around under here, and I don't really see it, right? And I took all this down under here trying to find it, and still nothing. Alright, so then I thought, well, maybe it's in the fuse box. Well, in an older car it is. It's in a fuse box in an older car like mine. But in this one, there's a fuse box inside the glove box, right? There is no place to plug in a flasher. So let me turn the camera back. So anyway, the dilemma is, where did General Motors mount this flasher? Like I said, I've been looking for this thing for 2 days. This is day number 3. I came out here. Now, I did do some work to my car a couple days ago. I replaced my transmission cooler lines. And then I decided, okay, it'd be quick and easy, just get under the car, get inside my wife's car and, just find the flasher and just change it. Well, it's not as easy as you think. I even took part of the dash apart trying to find this thing. I couldn't find it. I looked around for it, with no luck. All right, so I looked on car forums where people had the same issue. If anybody had the same problem, there's not very much information out there. If you have a 92 Buick Century Limited, there's not a lot of information out there where the flasher is located. So there's not a whole lot of information. I even went to the parts store and asked them. I said, do you know where this goes on the car? This flasher, or do you know where it goes, where it mounts to, or anything like that? And they looked around in the computer and they couldn't find nothing. I even asked a couple of the parts people at another store. They didn't know where it goes. They know it goes in the car, they just didn't know where it mounts. Where does it mount at? So I looked on all kinds of forums. They didn't, there was a couple of suggestions. They said, look around the steering column, behind the steering column, the right side or the left side of the steering column. Well, I did that. I looked and I had all this apart. I had it dangling down. I had a bunch of this stuff out. I had part of this off. And I looked to the left and I looked to the right of the steering column. Could not find it. Okay, so I even took the ashtray out and couldn't find it. So I was getting really frustrated at this point. And then today, I started looking on, I started Google searching again. And then I found one YouTube video, even though it was a different year model Buick Century, but it was like a 1996 or something like that. This is a 92, the one that my wife has. But the one that he has on the video was a 96. Okay, so on the 96 and the 92s are not that much different as far as how they wired them up. They're pretty much almost the same. Well, he's showing the same thing. He said there's not a whole lot of information out there with where is this flasher located? And when your flasher burns out, it's like General Motors don't expect that thing to burn out because they hide it from you. And they literally have hid it inside the car somewhere. So this person that has his Buick Century, he can't find where his flasher is, and he spent hours looking for it. And he literally had his whole dash apart trying to find it. The whole thing. He had the face off of it, everything like that, trying to find this thing. I almost did on this one. I was getting frustrated. That's the frustrating part, is try to figure out where did General Motors put this thing. Okay, he's looking under the dash and he sees something dangling behind the ashtray. And lo and behold, that's where it was located on his car. Okay. So, after I searched in that and YouTube, and I could only find that one video of that particular car. Now, I've seen all kinds of other videos that had people where they replaced their flashers, but they were on older cars like mine, and the flasher is on the fuse box. But on this car, it's not. It's mounted somewhere in the car, under the dash somewhere. But you don't know where the hell it is, right? So, okay, now the next thing is I have an old a Haynes manual that you can buy at the auto parts store for my wife's car, and I looked through it to see if there was any chance that it would say where the flasher is located. I went through that book and I went to the turn signal section. It actually has a little section for turn signals, faults and things like that. And it said that in early model Buick Centuries, on the earlier models, the flasher will be mounted somewhere behind the ashtray. It kind of reminds me of that video I saw before, that his was behind the ashtray. So I'm figuring that maybe this one might be behind the ashtray. And I'm getting to that point, okay? It also says the later models will be around the steering column, either on the right or left side of the steering column on a later model. But if you have an early model, in this case early model 90s, then your flasher should be behind the ashtray. Okay, now we're going to dive in this together. Now I took this apart. Now I did find the flasher, and I'll show you where it is. So if you have a 92 Buick Century Limited or a Century, it should be basically the same thing, how they wired them together, how it's wired up. And you can't find your flasher to change it, I'm going to show you where it is. So hang on to that. Alright, now, you go right here, we're behind, this is the ashtray, so you go under here, and right up here, look what we found. Now, of course, it's got wires and stuff hanging, right in the way. But what you want to look for, you see the purple? There's a purple and blue wire. Now, it's also mounted right there. And look what I found. It is a flasher. It's just in its own little plug, and it's mounted right here behind the ashtray part, in that frame part, in that holder. So there it is. Alright, now I'm going to change this out real quick. Okay, now had to do a little bit of prying on it to get the old one off, but here's the new one. It's now mounted. Now before we tuck this back in there, this car is so cramped. I'm a big guy and this car is little, but my wife is little too. So anyway, turn the thing on. We got a right turn signal. And look at there, we got a left turn signal. It's working. It works. So, there we go. Now I'm going to mount this real quick. Alright, there we go. Takes a little bit of muscling to get it in there, but right up in here, directly behind the ashtray, here's where the flasher is located. When you see purple and blue wires, right here is where it mounts back into a little bracket right there. It's on part of that right there. Alright, and as you see, I had to take this panel down, and I had to get the other one off too because it was over the top of this one. But it's right behind the ashtray, it's kind of towards this side of the ashtray and the back of it. So you go like that, it's pretty much right behind the ashtray. So, sorry, it's a little hot in here, but anyway, if you're trying to find, if you have a 1992 Buick Century Limited or Century, between I guess early 90s to mid 90s, I'm not sure if it goes all the way up to the late 90s. I don't think it does, but if you have early 90s all the way up to maybe 94, about 96, I guess. It might be the same all the way up to the later 90s, but I don't think so. But don't quote me on that. But if you have a 1992 Buick Century Limited or Century, and you can't find your flasher, and your flasher goes out, you'll have to take your bottom panel off underneath your dash, and look directly behind your ashtray. Just kind of look up, look for a blue and purple wire. That's all you gotta look for. And you should be able to find it. Now, it took me 3 days to find this thing, okay? Because I didn't know where to look. Nobody else knew where to look either, and it was just guesswork. So now that know where it is, all I know I have to do is just take the bottom kick panel off, drop it down, and then I should be able to, and then you can find it. It's right there. So if you have the issue that I had, and apparently this is the original that came out of the factory. So it's been in the car since 1992, because it looks original. So yeah. So there you go. So anybody that's having the same issue I had, where you can't find the flasher, if you're a 92 Buick Century or Century Limited, look behind your ashtray. I had to look in my Haynes manual for that one. I had to see if I knew we had a Haynes manual somewhere, and it took me a couple hours to find it. But once I found it, I was able to, it told me where to look, a general area to look into, and then I found it. So that's the way things go. Anyway, I'm sweating. Okay, so yeah, like the video if you like it, and comment down below if you want to comment down below the video, and subscribe if you want to. It'll help me out a lot, and hit the notification bell if you like these type of videos, like the video logs or the model car videos, things like that. And it should, it tells YouTube that you like this kind of content. So it will also let you know when I upload new videos if you hit the notification bell. I've noticed that a lot of y'all have not, some of my viewers have not subscribed yet. So if you want to subscribe, it will help me out a great deal, getting closer to being able to monetize my videos. If you want to help me out a little bit, I appreciate it. And I do appreciate all my loyal subscribers that have stuck around, even when I was still doing millworm videos years and years ago. Even some of those have left, but some of them stayed, and I really do appreciate that. And all the new subscribers that have joined the video, welcome to my channel. And yeah, this is just a video log. I don't know which one it is now. I've got a couple of them on my channel now, so when you see the title of the video, it'll tell you which video log it is. So, but basically, this is about my wife's car and trying to find a flasher. And I thought, well, there ain't very much content on this. There's not very much content on this topic, so there you go. Well, I'll see you when I see you. Have a good day. Be safe out there, and take care of yourself. And come back and watch some more videos if you want to. Anyway, see you later. Bye.